Hi guys, welcome to Flowcast, a podcast by Flowout, where we chat with successful entrepreneurs, freelancers, and other amazing professionals that are crushing it in their game. My name is Flo, and I'll be your host on this audio journey. In this week's episode, I'll chat with Bereket, a 14-year-old full-stack developer and tech world prodigy from Ontario, Canada. We have tons of interesting and important topics to discuss, so without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. Hi, Bereket. It's a pleasure having you here.
Hi, it's great being here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we want to get to know about a bit about you, and we usually do that by asking our guests, how would your family and friends describe you?
So for my family and friends, I think how they describe me is someone that's adventurous. I like to deep into many different things and like see what I like to explore and like what my interests are. So I'm always like all over the place trying to figure out what projects I like to work on, what like different skills I want to work on. So adventurous would be one. And something else would probably be someone that is excited. I'm excited for new technologies. I'm excited for new things that people are working on, and I'm excited to learn new things. So I think those are two very strong words that my family would describe me as.
Do you think these personality traits, like being adventurous, curious, have helped you in your career so far? Are these like some of the skills, unique skills that are helpful for being successful?
Yeah, I think they definitely helped me because it allowed me to be more open-minded to new things. It's like having like a growth mindset. Like I like to be open to the world. Like I don't like to stick to one thing. And in the past, like I've built so many projects. And like a year ago, like I would always be building things like every other week or something like that. So those skills definitely have helped me because made me learn new skills. And it helped me definitely, grow and get to the point where I am now.
Perfect, perfect. And what are you working on currently? What's on top of
Currently,
your mind?
for the past few months, I've currently been working on an idea that I've had for a startup. But previously to that, I've been working on finishing up my side projects. I haven't started anything too major yet. I've just been taking the time to, find something that I really want to work on and pursue a startup that I could go long term. So right now I'm in the idea phase. So yeah.
All right, sounds exciting. And to roll back the time a bit, can you tell us how did you start to get interested in tech? What were your first interests? How did you come to the point you are today?
So it's kind of a long story. So to make it short, in the summer of 2020, it was the COVID summer and all schools were locked down. Everything was on lockdown. So it was just me and my computer, and my imagination. So there's only so much that you can do with that. So originally my plan was not to learn coding. My plan was to go into video and content creation. So my idea was to create tech review videos. So I would get tech products on Amazon and I would buy them, purchase them, and then review them and publish those videos to YouTube. So I personally found that to be something fun to work on. But obviously it took up a lot of my time. It was just me. I didn't have a team. So I had to make the videos, purchase the products, wait, edit the videos, have good camera skills to review the videos. So after that, I published my first ever video, pushed it to YouTube, and I never checked on it again. And the reason is my dad actually told me that there could be other things productive that I could do, so he told me about programming. So programming was something that I've previously been into a bit. But I never really like thought I could like do it because in my mind I had the thought that it would be very difficult. So after that, I kind of went onto YouTube and I kind of just like with my mind, I just like searched up a few programming videos, and I was just like, let me take a shot at it. And what's the worst that can happen? We're in lockdown probably for the next couple of years, so let me just make the most of it. So I went onto YouTube, I started programming. I made my first ever website. And it was very basic text, and nothing, no colors, nothing like that, no styling, just HTML. So I showed that to my sister, which I'm very lucky that she was studying computer engineering at the time. I showed it to her and she was like, this is great. What else can we work on? So she helped me learn CSS and JavaScript, a bit of Python. But then obviously she was busy as well. So it was up to me to continue learning. So I continued to learn, and my thought process to learning was, let me just not watch YouTube videos for the next 4 months. Let me apply this to projects. So that's what I did for the next 5 months. And then in January 2021, I launched my first product, which was Lunar Theme. It was more of a project actually. So Lunar Theme was a Visual Studio Code theme. So I published that, and to date it's had 10,000 installs, but that was my very first ever published product. That was just pure entertainment purposes, but it ended up doing pretty good. I launched on Product Hunt to check that out. I started a Twitter page to share my creations, but that's basically how I started my coding process and my journey.
Yeah, shout out that, shout out your sister. How important do you think it is to have this kind of support system when you're getting started?
I think it's really important. Not everyone will have someone that is pursuing computer engineering or someone that like knows a lot about technology, but I think I was very lucky to have people that already had the background that could help me get a good foundation and a good start. So I would say that 100% helped me. And without that, I actually don't know where I'd be today.
Definitely said, like it's on you to take responsibility to self-educate, to progress. Obviously, it's not just about watching YouTube videos, but could you plug some resources for self-education? Where did you get your start?
Yeah. So on YouTube, there's Free Code Camp. That's very popular. A lot of people use that. And besides that, there wasn't really any specific resources. Like I would just search up like HTML for beginners, JavaScript for beginners. I would click a few videos. There's also Ben Awad, and there's other people. But there are a lot of great videos on YouTube now. This is 2020. Now there's thousands of more videos. So really a lot of the videos there work. It's just getting started. Understanding the basics of these languages shouldn't be that difficult, but once you have that basic knowledge, then it's easier to carry on by yourself and start learning more.
Yeah, that's perfect. And there's obviously no age limit on starting to work in tech. However, there aren't many 14 years old doing the things that you're doing. How do you feel your age affected your path in the tech industry so far, and your experiences working in software engineering?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that there are benefits, advantages and disadvantages. For the advantages side, actually, I'll start off with disadvantages. So, when you come off as a 14-year-old building, not that many people will take you serious. They probably see your tweet that you launch a product and be like, oh, this 14-year-old built this, it's probably not that good, like it's some type of joke. But like that will carry on through some people, but for the majority of people, they look at it and they're like, oh, this 14-year-old built this. Like that makes me wonder, there's so much to build. Like if this guy can learn coding in like a year or two and can build all these products, like why can't I do that? Or like what's stopping me from doing that? Because in reality, nothing is stopping someone from learning coding. Like the only thing stopping you is you, because there's no one else. Like there's the resources. You don't have to pay a single cent. I never paid anything. Everything was available on Google, YouTube, Stack Overflow. It was just me and my ideas and coding. So I think it helped definitely for the 14-year-old part, because it's easier to launch a product, I'd say, as a 14-year-old, because more people are open to seeing what you're building. Whereas as you get older, there's so many people in the competition range, because like everyone nowadays has a startup that and is 18, and there are millions of other people that are doing the same thing. But when you get younger and younger, there are less people doing it. So I would say it would help. But there have also been disadvantages for me where other people have just been dismotivating or have doubted. But again, that's a very small percentage of people, and most people are very positive towards it.
All right, that's good to hear, the support in tech community. We can say working in the no-code space, our community is really good, really supportive, really positive. You probably had a chance to network with other people
Yeah.
your age who are also building. Do you feel like the future tech community there will be more of this support, positivity, connecting with each other, building together? How do you feel about it? What's coming in the future years?
Yeah, I would say in the future, there are 100% going to be more people that get involved in technology. And I think that as more people get involved in technology, that means that everyone is trying to grow. And that also brings competition, though. So there might be a few people here and there that are just in it for a competition. They want to get to the top. But I think more importantly, there should be people that like want to get successful in terms of their startup, like want to build something very good, but they should also want to encourage other people and like help build things together and help grow together. So I think that like these experiences that people are building, like it's good to network with other people and like help everyone grow at the same time. Because you don't want to be dismotivating other people, because that does nothing. Like for yourself, you'll get to the top, but everyone else, like you're just leaving them behind. And then in the future, this will come back to you. So I think it's just good to just have a positive mindset. But in the future, there will be 100% more competition.
Yeah, talking about future, how do you see yourself in a few years? Most importantly, what are your wishes? What are your goals? What do you want to accomplish with your building and tech projects?
Yeah, in the future, I'd say I haven't planned 10 years out, but in the next 5 year span, I'd say that I want to have a startup that like I'm actively working on, and that is uh that has been like I've grown it by myself or with like a team of like 2 or 3 people, and get users building it, using it, my bad, and have raised venture capital money, because I want to get to the point where I have a startup that I could just go back to and be like, this is what I'm building. Look at all these people using it. It's helping them. Because like I want to build things that help other people do what they're doing. And that's like my end goal. Like I just want to make a product that helps as many people as they can, because that will 100% put a smile on my face. And yeah, so besides that, I want to get experience in the real world. I know it's more tough when you're younger, but I want to try to get more internships, try to work at more places, more software companies. So I want to get as much experience as I can before later years, when I turn 18, stuff like that. So yeah.
Definitely. And what's your view on formal education? Are you now a high school student thinking about getting college degree, or going to work first and then see what life brings?
Yeah. I think that is a very unknown topic for me now, but what I can say is that I want to get a lot of experience working now and see like what I'm capable of now, because if I have like a steady startup now, or if I have a steady job at like a software company again, like I think that will definitely influence the future, because the future is working on like when I pursue higher education, I'm basically working towards what I plan to work on now. So if I've already achieved that now, there'll be less need for that in the future. So I want to try to achieve my end goal, what I would achieve after higher education now, so I don't have to worry about that after, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And do you feel like, knowing your peers, this will be more often the case than it was in the past?
Yeah.
With all the resources available to self-educate, they'll, miss on college education or just do it later in life.
Yeah. I think like what my fears now is that like I will like currently, like I don't have as many, like I'm still, like there's still like 4 years till I have to worry about or 3 years actually till I have to worry about higher education. But my fears now is that, like, what if I don't build a successful startup, and that's an extra 4 years of higher education I have to pursue. But I'm not gonna worry about that now, because again, there's so many like things where I could learn from, so many resources, so many, like I've still not learned everything that I need to know. I'm still learning, just like a lot of other people. So I think that would be my fear for now, but I still don't want to, worry about that in the future.
Definitely. You already talked about some challenges that you face with maybe people not taking you as seriously because of your age, some other stuff. Can you point out some other challenges that you've come across so far, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah. So I would say, to start off with the product uh pointed challenge, I would say, getting your product out there would be a challenge. When you build a product, you expect it to have 100,000 users in a week, but that's not realistic at all unless you get it to get viral. Something that would be, challenging is getting your product out there. Like, how do you go from spending a year on working on a project to getting it to 50,000 users? That's something that everyone has to think about. So like getting that, like, it's been a challenge for me 100%. But it has been achievable. But ways that I've been able to overcome it is like through things like Product Hunt. Product Hunt is a very good platform to promote your projects. And something else that's been helpful towards me is growing my Twitter following. That's also been helpful, getting more people to know about the project, getting more people to talk about it from their like word of mouth, and like things like that has definitely been able to help me. There's also Reddit, indie hackers, there's so many other platforms that can help grow your product. And something towards me that's been a challenge is definitely like ideas. There's only so many things that you could build. Like you can build anything you want, like, but like what matters important is who will that help. Like I could build any project now, but if that helps no one, then like what's the point of building it? And I think that's what a lot of startups have to consider now, is like who is this product going to help, and what's the issue currently that I'm trying to solve? Because if there is no issue, then there should be no product, because what are you building off of? Like, so I think that's been a challenge as well. Like finding a really, really good idea that would help as many people as possible, and that would be something beneficial. So yeah, that's what I would say the challenges are.
Yeah, and I like it how you already mentioned social media, building this personal brand. Can you tell us a bit more about that? How did you achieve it? What kind of content do you put out on Twitter? Maybe some advice for other young builders trying to grow their profile, build their following?
Yeah. So I would say what's helped me a lot is like maybe a few months ago to a year ago, I really emphasized a lot on threads. Because like as I mentioned before, I like to help people. So I saw kind of like a lot of trends on Twitter where it would be like posting threads on different types of topics. So I post threads on like different startup tools, different like AI tools, different like free tools and stuff like that, to help startup founders get started with their startups. So that I've seen helped a lot of people, and it's also not only helped people find startups to help them, but it's also helped the startups get users. So it's helped in both ways. So like what I would say that helped me a lot is threads, but also just tweeting consistently, posting updates, like catching everyone up to what I'm working on and stuff like that has definitely helped me. But threads is definitely top up there, because it helps as many people as possible. So that's what I'd say has helped me.
Definitely, threads are really popular. Also, sort of infographics, demo videos. There's a lot of trends all the time. How do you keep up with them? Do you like dedicate some time each day to, keep up with what's happening on tech Twitter? What's your
Yeah. So like every day, like as much as I don't tweet as much as I used to, I'm still on Twitter, probably every day, and I still scroll. I still see what everyone's up to. You know, I'm still up to date with everything because I like to stay with the trends. You know, I like to stay like what everyone's working on, like what new tools people are building. You know, because like, and especially now with like you know, chat GPT, AI and stuff like that, like I'm trying to figure out something where I can incorporate that to other products, and I've already seen people try to do that to be more helpful towards other startup founders. You know, like if it's something like copy AI where it's like generating copywriting for other startups, or whether it's like just general chat GPT finding information, or like logo designing or stuff like that. Like all these things help people. So I think, yeah, what helps me is just staying in the loop with Twitter every day. That doesn't have to be for 8 hours. It could be an hour or two a day, but just that would help.
And do you feel like your online presence have helped your ability to, collaborate, to uh, get opportunities in business, to work with other people, put your name out there?
Yeah. I think it has helped a lot, and I think that everyone should try at least to build an online presence, you know, because it helps in the future, whether you networking, trying to reach out to someone else, you know, all these things try to help as much as possible, because when you build an online presence, you know, it's not just networking. It's like you have a place to get ideas from, you have a place to get feedback from, you have a place to promote your products, you have a place to network. There's so many things that come with it. So I think that really helps with building an online presence.
Definitely. It's also one of the essential things I feel, to maybe, it's hard to achieve being gaining a massive following on Twitter, but at least staying active, interactive. This is something every company startup should do. And I want to get back to what you were saying earlier about how you started your journey in tech world during the COVID lockdown. Now, when the life is back to sort of normal, how do you manage to balance, your schoolwork and your passion for building and technology?
Yeah. So that's something that I've always kind of struggled with. And I've always tried to, you know, find a solution to it. But I think how I've been able to go about it is, you know, try to I try to have as much time for both things as possible, but what I've eventually ended up doing is I've just tried to finish all my schoolwork before uh I try to come home from school. So I try to finish it as fast as possible, you know, not rushing it, but like doing it properly. But like after that, then I would come home to finish my side project, you know, launch it. And it would kind of be a cycle like that. Like do other things, of course, like just doing that every day is not healthy. You know, doing sports and stuff like that. But you can see the balance there. Like you can balance your schoolwork so you're not feeling that, but you can also balance your side projects so you're not you know, completely not doing coding. So that's something that I've found to be helpful.
Do you feel like your teachers, your classmates are understanding of and supportive actually of you building your projects?
Yeah, I don't really tell anyone about like the Twitter, like the developing thing. I like to keep that to myself unless they find out about it. And last year that was kind of the situation until the end of the year, where my teacher found out somehow that I was doing all these things. But after that, I think it was kind of understanding for them. Like if I accidentally missed like an assignment, like then it was late, like they were more understanding. And this year, a lot of people already knew about it. So like like they obviously I've gained a lot of support from it and a lot of positive thoughts from it as well. But I've also had feedback from it. I've also had like ideas from it. So I think it's definitely been a positive impact for sure.
Do you have any advice for other, students who are working on projects outside of the academic field, how to, stay focused on what you're doing in a moment and not let your, brain rush thinking about one thing when you're doing the other one and vice versa?
Yeah. I'd say my advice for other students or other young developers is, I think I have two or three major ones. So number one would be, stay focused on a goal that you have. Like I know I mentioned earlier to, it's good to be adventurous all over the place, but I think something to focus about is have a goal. And like you can build up from that goal. So my original goal, like when I first ever started programming, was to create a project that has like a bunch of users, and my number I think was 1,000 users. And then I achieved that, and then I went to my next goal. So it's good to build a goal on top of a goal, and then eventually you'll reach your one massive goal. But I think that would be number one. Stay focused on a goal that you have. And number two would be just keep learning. Learn from YouTube, learn from Stack Overflow, learn from GitHub. Never say you can't do something, because you can, and the resources are there. The only thing, like I said earlier, that's stopping you from doing whatever you want to do is you. Like, I know that like a lot of people say that, but it's true. Like the only thing stopping you is you. And then finally is something that I've found super helpful is a lot of people, go on YouTube and they think that it'll help, like they'll be a coding guru just from like watching YouTube having one tab on the right, just YouTube and the other VS Code, and they copy the code side by side. But that does not help. What helps is you applying the coding yourself. Watch a YouTube video learning JavaScript, close the YouTube video, go on Visual Studio Code, open it up, and make a project. It doesn't have to be something complex. Just think of something that will help you out. It could be something super basic, an app that changes the color of the background. You can select the background color. And yeah, so like it doesn't have to be that complex. Just something that will help you understand what you're actually learning, so you actually know that what you're learning on YouTube is being applied in your brain. So like that's something that I think about all the time. It's better to apply things in your actual project. So that will help a lot. So I think those are the top three things that I would recommend.
Yeah, that's amazing. Such a, actionable advice, actually. I guess not only for students, but for everyone trying to, build new things, achieve something. And you've already had some projects, and you have some now as well. But I want to talk a bit about Builder Group. Can you tell us more about that? What inspired you to start this platform?
Yeah, so it's actually similar to so I didn't actually join originally when they started the idea. So Builder Group was founded in November 2021. And in December of 2021, they asked me to be on a podcast. The original three founders, Ari, Man, and Tejas, they asked me to be on a podcast. And then I went on a podcast similar to this. So I went on the podcast, and then we did the interview, and then I came off from it, and I really liked what they were building. It was similar to my goal, helping as many people as possible. And that was very specific towards young builders under 18. So I asked them if they needed more people to help. And at the time it was really small, maybe 50 to 100 members. And I asked them if they wanted help. And then a day later, on Christmas Day, I was the co-founder of Builder Group. So that happened. And then for the next year or so, I went on to help them, help build the community more. And we scaled from 100 members to over 4,000. We got in partnerships with a lot of startups, a lot of co-working spaces. We reached out to a bunch of startup founders for our idea called Builder Talks, which was a podcast series that we had. And we reached out to a bunch of them, and we had interviews and podcasts with a bunch of them. So that's basically our main idea over that. And what basically Builder Group is itself is a community for young builders to go out there, chat with other young builders, get ideas, get feedback, find co-founders, all that different stuff. And it's all based in a Discord server. So that's basically what Builder Group is.
Yeah, you talked about, what kind of tasks did you have to do as a part of a Builder Group, and do you feel like that was very helpful, developing, obviously, some hard skills are necessary, but to be successful in business, sometimes, the soft skills, working with people, are also essential. Could you compare those two sets of skills and their importance on the success?
Yeah, I think having this I think having the skills that I had previous to build a group definitely helped me when I came in. Because when I came in, it was more towards like, networking, finding like programming, networking, finding an opportunity for growth, and reaching out to a lot of people, so that definitely helped again with my online presence. That helped with my previous programming experience, and that helps with a bunch of other things as well. So I think it definitely helped before build a group, all the skills that I had. And that similar like what we've been talking about in this podcast, it's good to have the online presence. It helps with things like this. And you might not even know it, but it does help. And like besides that programming experience, I learned that just from YouTube, from Googling, from applying in projects. So yeah, everything will help you in the future. You just have to start learning, and then the opportunities will come by themselves.
Yeah, that's another great advice, and also something I wanted to ask you, because story of starting out is still sort of fresh. What would you recommend others, young builders who maybe haven't started but only have the idea, a vision? What would be your advice for them?
Yeah, I think for other people that just have an idea or a vision, and they don't have a product yet, I would say if you know programming, build an MVP. A lot of people say that, but it applies. Build an MVP, get something very minimal out there, even if it like breaks a bit, has a lot of bugs, just get something that is out there, so other people can use it. Stress test it, get a lot of users in it, get a lot of people using it. So I would say do that if you know programming, and if you don't know programming, then learn programming. Like it's a long step, but just learn programming. It'll help you as much as like if you really don't want to learn programming, it will help you. And I'm telling you, just learn it. Like it will help you 100%.
Got you. And while we're talking about advice, do you remember and do you have an advice that really hit home, like best advice you've ever heard, and how did you implement it?
Uh my best advice that I've heard, that's hard. Um
Or maybe not an advice directed to you, just like a lesson that you've, you wanted to share with others.
Yeah, okay. So it's less of a lesson, but a quote really stuck with me that I heard. It's from Kobe Bryant actually. And the quote went something like, if you quit, someone else rises. So like that, basically what the quote is saying is that if you quit, then someone else will beat you to whatever you've been trying to achieve, because someone else just wants it more, so when you're programming, when you're building a startup, like you have to really want like the end goal. You have to really want success. And then if you end up like being like, oh, I can't do this, like I have to quit, you quit, and then someone else takes your spot and their startup is getting successful because they just want it more. So like quitting is another thing that is very important. Like you can't like you obviously you could quit, obviously you can fail, and you can come back from that, and you can learn from it. But like as much as you want to quit, like it's not like quit and failure is completely different things. Quitting is like you have the opportunity to keep going, but you choose not to. And failure is like you've tried, you've went through the opportunity, you've tried your very best and just didn't work out. So those are completely different things. One you have an option and one you don't. So I think they're very different, but that was definitely one quote that really stuck with me till now.
Yeah, I love that, Kobe. Member mentality in tech and
Yeah.
business all around. Um, we finish the podcast usually with a series of rapid fire questions. So just answer what's on top of your head when you're ready. Okay, your favorite book?
My favorite book, to be honest, I personally don't like reading, so Like I don't have a favorite book. I'll be honest with that.
Yeah, we can move on with your favorite podcast.
My favorite podcast would probably be like a Builder. I don't want to be biased, but Builder Talks is a good podcast, I'd say. And besides that, there's all Joe Rogan. But yeah, there's those two podcasts. Yeah.
Got you. Your favorite productivity tool?
No code productivity tool. Oh,
Got you.
no code. I would say Webflow. Yeah, Webflow. Yeah,
Good. And most used app on your phone?
Discord, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. And your favorite hobby?
Probably basketball, playing basketball and biking.
Got you. Love that. Bereket, it was such a pleasure having you on. Learned so much and we got so much inspiration from your journey so far. Looking forward to see what you got in the store next for us and hoping to chat again with you soon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on the podcast.